So we kick things off with Enter the Dragon, which is not only turning 50 this year, that will be the 17th, that's like a few days from when we're recording this, but this is actually like the oldest show that we're actually going to do a retrospect review on. Because yes, we mentioned, the James Bond franchise before, right, from the beginning, right? But we never really dive into like the stuff that make those films work. We just more or less picked favorites and, the theme songs, all that kind of stuff, right? But here with this, it's not going to be like an in-depth rundown of every single thing that happened in this movie, right? That's how it is. It's just really like a retrospective look at this film and why it still holds up. But in my case, because we're recording this on the weekend of, Hip Hop 50, I also want to address, or at least try to examine for myself, why this film and, Bruce Lee, the image and the aura of Bruce Lee is part of hip hop, right? Why are martial art films basically a part of the hip hop culture, right?
Yes.
So it's like that.
And I was recently, I'll get to this I'll come back to this. I recently rewatched the third Kung Fu Panda movie.
Okay, I should rewatch that though. I remember really enjoying that.
It's pretty good. Yeah, I think that whole trilogy is good. But they did the Shanghai Choir did a remake of Kung Fu Fighting.
Okay.
You're right. But what it did, they took out something from the song. They took out one small thing, and it's something called the Oriental Riff. If you know what that is. Right. Yeah, and it's kind of, a lot of people think it's kind of racist, and yeah, they're right.
It's how it's used though. It's how it's used, especially
it's almost always used derogatorily.
Yeah.
It's almost always used in a poll, so it's kind of unfortunately poisoned. But I was thinking about that, and it's like, how come black people really like kung fu and thing, and well, in today's context, how come black people like anime so much, kind of thing.
That's right. Yeah.
We can get into a whole argument about that because, even though I don't think Kung Fu Fighting is offensive, but it's not. I don't think the song is racist. It is kind of offensive and dated. And it's only
incredibly dated, by the way. Stuff. Like don't mind. It's a disco song, but it's dated as all hell, right? Yeah.
Right. But it's still a classic in my humble opinion. It's still a great song. But the whole melody of the song is great because this version of the song, they actually the Chinese decided to co-opt it for the movie, right? To just think about why does that black people like thing, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was really into he got into the career of it, and I do have a theory about that, and it's a big socialist theory about, well, if you think about it, Asia played out in the way, well, if they didn't have as bad of a colonialism experience as thing, Africa would have probably turned out like Asia, right? If it didn't have a outright destruction of Africa, what you call the scramble for Africa. If it Africa would have been like Asia in terms of like managing resources, controlling your own shit, for the most part. And when you get to see that alternate world almost, I do think that is a big part of it. Just the lifestyle, how people would think, the philosophies of things would have an overlap. Real black people like hip hop culture in that sense. And if things played out in that way, it might have worked out in our way. That's why a big part of it. This movie introduced me to, what's his name, Jim Brown?
No, not to be confused with Jim Brown. Jim Kelly.
Sorry,
also RIP to both Jim Brown and Jim Kelly, actually.
Right.
Yeah, well, Jim Brown died this year. Jim Kelly years ago.
Right. And it just to see this dude with the most insane afro dread. That shit had me cracking up, but he was pretty good though. Like he was really good at this though.
His swag he had it. He had swag, but there's something about his character that I like that the show examines, kind of subtly but kind of broad as well too. But I'll get to that in a bit. But
and I more think of like when I think of black guy with Bruce Lee, I more think of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right? Classic.
Right, because he was in Game of Death, which I'll mention too. Yes.
Right. Classic team. But this he's pretty good at this. I forget he was in this as well. It's like, all right.
Well, okay. It's kind of like common knowledge. Like this was the film which introduced the world to Jim Kelly, right? So so I'll just kind of kick things off with just introduction. Well, just how we got into the film in the first place, right? So we were not born in 1973, right? And funny thing, like I've brought this up a few times. I think last time was when we talked about where we celebrated the anniversary of Romeo Must Die, right? And that's where we started
Right.
that whole thing about why black people love martial art films so much, right? So in the 90s, right? Yeah, there was two ways that you
Yeah,
could see
cheap cinema.
right. There was two ways that you got to see martial arts films, right? And this is prior to me being introduced to bootleg DVDs. And that's how I
Yeah.
was able to see like just a plethora of 70s like Shaw Brothers Kung Fu flicks, right? But yeah, the only two ways you're gonna get to see Kung Fu films in the 90s was either on a little station called AVM Channel 4 and 16, where they just used to have
Right.
these
Saturday.
really like
Saturday midday.
they used to have like these really cheap, badly made 80s ninja flicks from the 80s, which have aged terribly in my opinion, but you could kind of watch them and laugh,
Yeah.
right? They used to have a
Yeah.
block. It was like Saturdays 1 to 3 p.m.
Right.
Usually wrap up at 2:30.
About that,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Or you go
Right.
in the cinema and you see the newest Jet Li film. You would see Jackie Chan films
yeah.
ever so often, so like Rumble in the Bronx
But
or
Jet Li is really dominant,
Super Cup,
yeah.
for example.
Yeah.
You'll see those, or Drunken Master 2.
Right.
But like every year was a Jet Li flick. It was Once Upon a Time in China.
Right.
It was Twin Warriors, well, Tai Chi as we call it down here.
Tai Chi is such a
Tai
classic.
Chi for me
Yeah.
blew my mind, and I never saw that film
Blew
till
my mind,
2000. Believe it or not, when
Yes.
friggin' Crouching Tiger dropped, 'cause they had a double feature, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and then Tai Chi, right? I'll never forget that. So Crouching Tiger had the sort of
Yeah,
like
hard.
the dramatic take on the martial arts stuff, but it was a great film. I love it, right? And then they got Tai Chi, which also had Michelle Yeoh in it, and it's probably still one of the best
Yes.
double features I've ever experienced in a theater, right? But yeah, every year used to be
For me,
a Jet Li film.
another classic is another classic I saw in theaters was New Dragon Inn.
Which one?
New Dragon Gate Inn.
Oh, you saw that? Okay.
I saw that. Yes, I remember seeing that in theater. That was fucking
Alright.
hard. Yeah. It had this
Yeah,
one scene. It had this one shot I will never forget. When they slided down the hill and the sunlight like God rays pouring through the dust and they going down the hill. Dog, that fucking scene, that shot so hard. It's like a classic shot though. Yeah.
I don't look for that. I look for that.
Yeah.
And this last point on
this-
Jet Li, right? Fist of Legend, which is like top 5 best Jet Li films ever made. This should be that should be in your top. That should be in like anyone's top 10 best martial art films of all time, right?
Yeah.
I'll bring top 5 or whatnot at the end of this review here, right? But as I bring up Fist of Legend, that's where in the 2000s, right? I'll get to Enter the Dragon in a bit, right? In the 2000s, that's when I dived into Bruce Lee's filmography, right? And I found out that Fist of Legend was a remake of, Bruce Lee's second feature film that he made through Golden Harvest in Hong Kong. That would be Fist of Fury, right? Well, the English, I should say the American title for it is the Chinese Connection, right? But it's called Fist of Fury, right? Yeah, it's the same story, but controversial take. I actually prefer the story of. I actually prefer Fist of Legend more than Fist of Fury, in my opinion. Reason being 2 reasons. One, over dramatic. Fist of Fury, way too over dramatic though. And yes, it's very patriotic, right? It's about Chinese and it's about our people, right? But yeah, they kind of showed Japanese in a bad light. Like all the Japanese were like assholes in it. And I mean, I get it's a propaganda piece, and that's why in case you didn't know, the director who was working, he also did Bruce Lee's first film, The Big Boss, right? That was a huge hit, right? But yeah, that one just had this political stance to do, and Bruce Lee wasn't really down with that, so he left, and that's why he directed Way of the Dragon, right? Which actually was released right after Enter the Dragon, right? But yeah, that was the movie that Bruce Lee. That's the only film that Bruce Lee directed on his own, right? That's the film where he fought Chuck Norris. And don't forget, like I always heard, he fought Chuck Norris. Like, really, you do that? And then I watched it and I was like, oh shit, the man fight Chuck Norris too. And still to this day is the best example of strength versus speed. Like, just watch that sequence properly. It's Chuck Norris's strength versus Bruce Lee's speed, and you'll see why speed will always beat strength though. But it's a great scene, right? But yeah, in terms of directing, it was a solid effort though. The man went to Rome. He went to Rome, to shoot this film. The man had the big fight scene take place in the Colosseum, and I was like, all right, bro, Bruce. All right, Bruce, do your thing, right?
Yeah.
But as I said, unfortunately, this was released right after he passed away, right? That was through a brain aneurysm. That was like days before Enter the
Yeah.
Dragon even dropped,
He had
right?
he had a yeah, he had I think a reaction to some
It was
medication or
that. It
something
was
like
that. Okay, yeah. I think he was
Yeah.
suffering from some migraine and he took the medication. And then like about a day
Yeah.
or some hours afterwards, he died. Right, like literally in his house in his bed. Right, that's what happened. But yeah. So back now to Enter the Dragon. So how I found out about that now was through another station called TV6. Because one day, I think it was a
Yep.
Saturday night, they just say, you know what? Let me just drop Enter the Dragon, you know what I mean? Because, you know, I like ever so often when you'll drop an action movie on you. But it was surprising that they dropped this movie here, right? I'll never forget, right? So it still makes me laugh this day, right? Where they used to take it from like TV broadcast, from cable broadcast, but they just always used to slap it every time that there was a show that had objectionable content. That would be like a scene of violence or blood or whatever, right?
Right.
So it's the due to violent content, parental discretion is advised. I saw that at the beginning of friggin' Enter the Dragon, right? And as they watch this show, like it's Bruce Lee, and I finally get to see Bruce Lee. Like I finally get to see this, right? Because I mean, in the pop culture, you know, like in pop culture, you know who Bruce Lee is. You've seen him before, quite famously. You know him through, you know, the reference him in Family Matters, right? Where
A ton of
where
references
Steve
to-
Urkel
a ton
used
of
to do
references
the
to-
Bruce Lee thing, right?
Yeah.
Video games,
me-
right?
for me is,
There was Liu Kang. He is literally Bruce
Right.
Lee. Tekken. What was my
Fei Long.
Yes, Fei Long. Yeah,
Law.
he is literally Bruce Lee.
Fei Long, Law.
Law, yes,
Law
yes.
from,
Especially
yeah,
how
Law
he
from,
used to
right.
do like the wah, wah, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
know who he is, right? But I just never
Yeah.
watched a Bruce Lee movie in person. And to this day, I still wonder why Channel 4 never used to show those 70s films. Why are we showing these 80s bullshit ninja flicks, right? But whatever, right? So yeah, seeing that
Right.
movie for the first time, I was like, what though? Like, I just ended up loving that film instantly. But really, what makes that show work, right? I'll bring it up in my review here, is Bruce Lee's magnetism, right? Because for me, like, he kind of broke the stereotype that, oh, because I'm an action hero, I can't act. Huh? No, I'm going to
did
show
two
you that I
things.
can
He
act.
did
I'm
two
not going to act as much as I did see for, like, the Hong Kong stuff, like Big Boss or Fist of Fury. But I still can't act. And, you know, when you learn about Bruce Lee's career, you learn that this man was acting for years, right? Leading up to stuff like, say, not Chinese Connection, sorry. What it is? Green Hornet. Like, the dude could act.
Right. No, yeah, what he did well, I think, is he kind of break that whole two things. One, the whole Asian goofball stereotype, and the whole, you know, with the buck teeth and the eyes and the glasses, that kind of nonsense. Now, oh god, it's a movie I love, but that one part of the movie is complete. They need to cut that or figure out a way to get rid of that. Breakfast of Tiffany's.
Oh boy. I'm going to talk
Mickey
about
Rourke, I
it.
think. Yeah, jeez, boy. Fucking hell,
Jeez,
dude.
boy. Yeah.
But yeah, they get rid of that. That's one, and then they get rid of the what I don't know what to call it, but it's something I've noticed, which is I call it basically the asexual Asian male. You know, he's never a romantic lead.
Yeah,
You notice
yeah.
that? Can never
And,
be a
and
romantic
he's not
lead.
swooning
You're-
over
you're
no
meant to have
white
sex.
chick, though. Like, in any of his films.
Right,
like,
right,
you don't
right.
see him fiending over
Exactly.
some white chick, you know what I mean? Like white chicks
Right,
will try
exactly.
to hit on
Right,
him, but
right,
you'd be
right.
like, no, I cool, bro.
Right,
I
exactly.
cool.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And they play on that and they make it work. And yeah, he's one of the few to break that paradigm. There's one thing that I look. I like the movie, but I find that part was bullshit. It Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, right. Very
where-
controversial
where he
depiction
fought
of Bruce Lee. Yeah,
Yeah,
and you know, a man like
absolutely
Tarantino will
should
say,
have
you
cut
know,
out the-
yeah, Bruce Lee was an asshole, and I'm just showing you that he was
Yeah,
because
nah.
I read a bunch of books.
Right.
I don't know, whoever.
Right. Bullshit. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. I thought that was bullshit. Yeah, whatever. But that's about it. Yeah, no, Bruce Lee was that guy.
Yeah, exactly. And most importantly, Bruce was the leading man. He was the star
Yes.
of the show. It wasn't,
Yeah.
you know, a white man, you know, because it could have just been the John Saxon show, right? R.I.P.
Yeah.
to John Saxon, right? Because, you know, he's an American white Caucasian male, so let him lead the
Yeah.
show. And he has charisma, you know what I mean? And, you know, let Bruce be the psychic. But like, no, I've been the psychic before in Green Hornet.
Yeah.
I was trying to and you learn later on that he was fighting for years to literally be the star of his own show, to the point that he pitched the idea for Kung Fu, and it was like, nah, let's just have David Carradine,
Which is
starring
ridiculous.
as and then Bruce was like, nah, fuck all that, and he went to Hong Kong and started a career there, right? And the rest is history.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll close this, right? So yeah, that movie was just amazing to me, though. It was the first time seeing him, right? And the more I saw, when I saw Big Boss and Fist of Fury and Way of the Dragon, that's when I really appreciated his work even more, right? I actually own the Criterion Blu-ray box set of it, though. It's one of the last things I bought from Criterion, believe it or not, up to this point. And I'm gonna just say this before we get to your how you got into it. And yeah, I mean, it just sort of introduced me. It more or less officially kicked off my foray in the 2000s into classic kung fu films, right? So I sought out the Shaw Brothers stuff. I sought out more Golden Harvest films and whatnot. And yeah, I just became a huge fan of the Kick Up, as we call it here in Trinidad, thanks to this movie, right? And I could see this right now before I even get to my rating. Yeah, this movie is top 5 for me in terms of just all-time favorite martial art films, right?
Yeah. The thing with this movie, they have so many so many shots people rip off from this.
Yes.
After the every time you watch a shot, you have a shot in a James Bond movie that was straight up to me borrowed from this. If you know what it is, the mirror scene.
Oh yes. We'll talk about that mirror scene.
Was that in a James Bond movie or this?
This movie introduced it. This movie introduced that mirror scene. I'll talk about that too.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. It just.
Yeah. No. Sorry. Finish off.
No. Yeah. It's just so many classic moments and shots, like the part where the guy or the girl and then Bruce Lee stumps him.
Yes.
And it just cuts to Bruce Lee.
Just doing that.
Yeah. And it has so many it's both homage and parody and whatever it is, but just how influential this movie is. You watch it back, it's like, oh shit, right, that's where they get it from. And you forget, it's so pervasive.
Yes.
It's so mimetic.
And it have so much quotes. You mentioned a few, of course, but they have bars in the show. They have bars, right? But yeah,
Exactly.
Ricardo, you could just talk about how you got into, how you were introduced to Enter the Dragon and Bruce Lee as a whole, right? And then we'll jump into the review.
Yeah. Again, typical black people loving martial arts, and yeah, Bruce Lee was the one that keep coming to he was the sun that everybody orbit around. From a pop culture standpoint, everybody references dude. And I, as a kid, I didn't know. Cause for me, it was Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan was the first person I was super into. Mostly because of how weird and off or orthodox he used to fight with that sort of stuff. His stylish set pieces, amazing. Then Jet Li, and then later you get into Bruce Lee, just looking back at the material. And I just remember seeing Enter the Dragon VHS. Bought it, loved it. Absolutely love it. Almost wear it out to be honest.
Nice.
This is a classic. Yeah, it's a classic in that sense. You just watch it. And I can't remember brain short day with not remembering Jim Kelly. Yeah? But yeah, it's just a classic. Everything that's mimetic and make it work for what it is. A lot of fun. It is a template for, again, the whole going to island and having a tournament. I straight up Mortal Kombat. Like, oh yeah, right, that's where they get it from. Stuff like that. They almost all shows do that now. Like all video games base a whole chunk of fighting video games is effectively that. Just do the Enter the Dragon thing. Can't go wrong. And yeah, he is a person who just constantly know everything about him. You see all his stuff like the 1-inch punch and all I think Jackie Chan worked under him and Jet Li worked under him at one point.
Well, I don't know about Jet Li, but I know quite famously, and thanks to the Blu-ray, they actually show you the moment. Yeah, Jackie Chan was an extra in that film.
Yeah. And yeah, they make everything work because the whole Hong Kong theater history and that whole thing that just make all these great movies. Yeah, they're cheap, but they're good. They're hard. Yeah, I can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with most of this. Yeah, I really love this movie.
Yeah. So as you said before, we're not gonna do this in-depth play-by-play of everything, right? But we're just gonna talk about it from a retrospective, viewpoint, right? So what the show is about in a nutshell is that there is a tournament on an island that's run by a former Shaolin monk by the name of Han, right? I mean, most original bad guy name ever, right? Played by Shea Kian, right? Great, just facial presence to it. He just nailed it, right? And you could tell, you could tell that he's this, he did a lot of professional acting prior to that, right? And you see it in the performance here, right? Because he's not a martial artist per se, but he does, command the, the screen every time he's there, right? Yeah, so he's running this tournament, and later on you
Right.
learn why he's doing it in the first place. So it's just the best and the best and the brightest in the world of martial arts come through. Fight to the death basically, and yeah, that's it, right? So Lee, who is played by Bruce Lee, haha, right? He gets roped in now because this MI6 agent, reaches out to him one day and is like, yo, you know what I mean? I know that this guy who's running this thing was, a former Shaolin monk. He used to, be in the temple that you were raised and you learned your work from. Yeah, so we kind of need you to be our agent. We need you to go on the island and find his stuff and pretty much stop him for us. And then, when the coast clear, you let us know. You send a signal. We jump in and we do the rest, right? So along the way, he runs into Roper, who's played by John Saxon. They set up earlier on that he's just this gambling addict. So it's a great little flashback scene. I love how they do flashbacks here, right? So yeah, he owe people some money. So he does more or less... Well, that's basically his whole MO is just about getting paid, right? So he's doing this thing basically for the money and the fame, right? There's actually like a great bit involving him betting with
Right.
this Japanese guy on who will lose in a particular fight. That was really cool. Also, we have Williams, who is played by the great Jim Kelly. This is his debut performance here. He is a martial artist as well, too, who's also
Yeah.
invited to Hans Island, right? Well, yeah, I mean, basically, Roper was invited as well, too, and Lee as well. So they're all going down there, right? There's a great, fantastic flashback involving, like, him leaving his dojo, this karate dojo. And yeah, these two racist-ass white cops just stop him and is like, oh, you where's this chick going? Honolulu, Hawaii. You ain't going to Hawaii. You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, Williams pretty much just kicking
Right.
shit out of them. But what make that scene work, Dread, is that he went in the police car and drive off with it, right? If I was in a movie theater in 1973, right, seeing this for the first time, I would have lost my shit, Dread. That is such iconic moment, though, especially just for black representation, right? Especially, with the era, the time, so that's just such a great moment, right? And so impactful, right? So yeah, long story short, all these three guys end up on the island, but Lee in particular has his own particular reason to go there because, yeah, he's on a path of revenge because we learned early on that his sister actually got killed, well, actually killed herself because one of Han's men, Goon, who's played by, his name is O'Hara. He's played by Robert Wall. Fun fact, actually, the late great Robert Wall, he
Right.
passed away
Yeah.
last year. Yeah, he was actually in Fist of Fury and Way of the Dragon, right? So he showed up there. And there's a couple of actors from older films that show up in this movie too. I'll bring that up in a bit, right? Yeah, there was a scuffle, and in the process, O'Hara's face gets scarred and whatnot. And yeah, in the process, Lee's sister kills herself, right? Because either that or
Right.
she gives in to the wills of these pretty much horny white men, right? Yeah, so basically, he wants to get rid of O'Hara, and of course Han, because Han betray the beliefs of the Shaolin Temple and what it holds true and all that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
And yeah, in a nutshell, that's what it's about, right? So, just touching on the things that really stand out to me, right? Let's just started from the basics. The music. I think the music deserves a lot of praise. So it's done by Lalo Schifrin. If I got the surname wrong, forgive me, right? And it's funny that I'm bringing up this name too because I remember seeing Rush Hour for the first time and hearing that music and telling myself, wait a minute, why that sounded like the
Right.
same sort of riffs that you hear from Enter the Dragon, and it's exactly that. Like he actually draws from his own work for his score, especially the opening
Yeah.
theme for Rush Hour. I thought that was like real cool there. And in a way, it's kind of introducing reintroducing this Asian superstar to the world, right? So that would be Jackie Chan with that film, right? But yeah, with this music here, the score, it totally works. What I like, it's very 70s, right? The way how, with the sort of the wah-wah guitars, the meow, 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 you know what I mean? You hear that, right? But it's the orchestral stuff that work, that dun, dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun, bam, bam, bam. It gets the blood pumping, right? But it's very, very 70s, right? So you have to take it like that, right? But one point you really should take in with this though, it has a slight Bond feel to it as well. James Bond feel to it, right? And if you really think about the story, especially with Bruce Lee's character, it's basically, it's James Bond, but if you swap Bond and you put Bruce Lee in it, because that's pretty much what it is. He's an agent, he's hired to do a job, he has to break in, you know what I mean? Even there's moments where he's going to like the underground cellar or whatever it is where, surprise, surprise, Han is doing some heroin stuff. So yeah, he dealing drugs as well. And the point of the tournament is just to get some, alright, so it works in two ways. One, he just looking for new help, new bodyguards, if you will, to help him, to be the tough guys. And then when in the case of Roper, he just want this rich man to kind of promote his brand of drugs, right? To help promote his brand of corruption, if you will, right? So that's why Roper in particular was roped in, right? Ha ha ha, right? But yeah, if you really think about it, it's a James Bond film, right? I think like Lee, when he came up with the idea, cause he had a lot to play in the creative process with it, not just with the fight scenes, because he does the choreography here. Yeah, he kind of wanted it to be a Bond film, and when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense, right? It really does. And then thinking about, films like You Only Live Twice, which yes is a show that I enjoy, but look at the way how Sean Connery had to do yellow face for that scene, right? So I guess in a subconscious way, it's kind of like taking back that identity, right? That Asian identity, right? So it's that. The story I like just looking back at it now, I like how purposefully simple it is, right? There's nothing too complex. It's very, very simple, very by the numbers. I know for some people that might be a turn-off, but you have to look at it as what the show is. It's a martial arts / action film, right? You're not getting depth. You're not getting a set of character. You get some backstory, but not too much. It's not like, it's not weighing it down with like the inner workings and the mindsets of all these characters. It's just a basic story, right? But in the case of this movie here, I think it totally works. It keeps things simple. And it makes it straightforward. Like, you just understand what's going on. You don't have to, like, I don't need like a set of backstory in terms of like, where Lee came from and all that kind of stuff, right? Speaking of that, I'll never forget this, right? So, like, the version I saw on TV was a theatrical cut, right? So, later on when it was, like, released on home media, there was actually, like, a deleted scene that was included, right? And still to this day, I wonder why it was cut out. I think it's a great scene. So, what it is, in case you didn't know, so this happens right after the introductory fight with Bruce Lee and this other guy at the temple. There's a moment where Bruce is talking to his sensei, right? Or Sifu, whoever it is, right? And basically talking about his philosophy of how he sees fight, how he sees martial arts, right? And it's one of those things like I just kind of know by heart, right? Where, he's talking about in a fight, there's no I because the word I does not exist, you know what I mean? It's one of those things that once you learn more about Bruce Lee's career, right? Every one of his films, he always, I should say right after the Big Boss, he always kind of wanted to step his craft very well, like his fighting, right? So with what he does with Jeet Kune Do, right? Where basically it's kind of taking the bits of various fighting styles, whether it's boxing or judo or karate, but forming it into one thing, right? But not stopping there. So for him, it was always about evolving his style, right? Though in retrospect, I felt the film was trying to reach there where it was trying to figure out its own philosophy in terms of how Bruce approaches his fighting styles or whatnot. Because in that deleted scene, he talks about how, when he's in a fight, he's not thinking, he's not dreaming, he's ready for whatever come. When the opponent expands, he contracts and vice versa. And then when the opportunity comes, I do not hit. It hits all by itself.
Right.
I love that. That is some like level philosophy, right? But in basic, it's just him being able to react. Is the instinct of him fighting, right? But there's a great moment that comes afterwards though, where upon talking to the agent, right, to the British guy, he pauses and he teaches this kid about, he asks him to do like this kick, so he's kind of training him, right? He's like, kick me, right? And he's like, we need emotional content. And he say, not anger, right? And it's like, what he says, right? He says, don't think, feel. It's like a finger pointed at the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger or you'll miss all that heavenly glory, right? So it's all about kind of like just instinctively being able to move, right? But I like that he says, it's emotional content, not anger. Because there's moments where he's like exacting revenge on people, like case in point O'Hara. And yeah, you could tell that the man like going through this form of catharsis, right? So
Yeah.
famous scene in particular where he fights O'Hara, right? And it starts off very well. It has one of the best lines ever in this whole movie. Boards don't hit back. That's like the best mic drop in that whole
Yeah.
movie. Like, boards don't hit back, bitch. Right? So when O'Hara gets embarrassed, right? Because yeah, he literally getting his ass whooped, right? All real, right? No padding or nothing like that. Like Robert all get his ass washed by Bruce Lee in that scene, right? Yeah, the man, take 2 glass bottles, break them, and look to attack him, right? We see like when Bruce does the stomp, right? How his face like contorts, and it's almost like he just like letting off steam there, like he just getting this burden off him, right? Which is the whole revenge thing in the first place with his sister's death, right? But I felt the show in retrospect could have tapped into that a little bit more, that whole philosophy of you want to fight instinctively, but at the same time you don't want to bring emotion into it. But he brings emotion into it because why is the camera zeroed in on his face and why he's doing that? Wow, you know what I mean? It's a great shot. Don't get me wrong, it works. It's kind of laughable. It's a great scene, but you could tell the man was emotional at that point, bro. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
Right.
But yeah, just while I take a little breather here, what are your thoughts on that particular fight scene with Lee and O'Hara?
It's a classic, Joe. This is just the stop at the start and how they make it flow what it is. I again just remember it again, iconic kind of stuff, and they make it work for it. To do that at the time and just having the simple choreography, the ending of it, the flow of it, and it's just smart. Just this is the smart way to shoot this. Love this. Love this for what it is. As I say.
Yeah. So that's lastly on the whole philosophy aspect, right? To the show's credit, they do touch on it in the last fight, right? That's between him and Han, right? And that's where we get the famous, Room of Mirrors stuff, right? So, just to touch on that, right? And that was actually Bruce's idea to do well, I don't want to call it a Hall of Mirrors, right? More Room of Mirrors, right? And today you see its influence, like look, freaking John Wick Chapter 3 actually did the whole, did the Room of Mirrors shit, right? Well, no, actually, I think 2 did it, or 2 or 3. I know, but
two at it, yeah.
Right, but 3
But he fight
did,
Ruby Rose in it, yeah.
yes, but 3 did,
did.
no, 2 did it, right? But 3 did the Game of Death thing, right, with him and Mark Dacascos, right? Because it does I'm going up I'm going up this flight of stairs, I'm in this room here, alright, I had to fight all there. Okay, now I had to go up here, and I had to go up here. And yeah, you had to do research on it, but even that in itself too had its own set of working philosophy here, where it's him kind of learning that, look, I could fit within this mold and fight this certain way, but it can't be like that. And you see it in particular where he fights Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right? I think he's the last man that he had to fight, right? This blind man. So it's like, look, I can't be adhering to a certain style. So basically it's him kind of rejecting all these styles and just saying, look, I just going to go full instinct. I'm going to move how I want to move. I'm not even going to think about it, right? So that's like the idea that he was developing with Enter the Dragon, but with Game of Death, that's where he like really cemented that concept. And I know that there's that, like, if he had lived longer, he could have explored it even more or evolved that philosophy even more. But the last thing that we really got from that, unfortunately, was the Game of Death sequence, right? But whatever. But yeah,
You're right.
But yeah, that Room of Mirrors though is just such an amazing set piece though. Just into like Warner Brothers and them just say, here's what we gotta fill this room with mirrors, and somehow they get it to be in such a way that what blow my mind, right, is that you will see like a hallway of mirrors, like less mirrors alongside each other, right, and you will see like Bruce's reflection look the same way in like those 6-7 mirrors, right? I don't know how they pull it off, right? And he will be like a distance on the other side, or like to the left or to the right of it. You're not really sure where it is, but he's not exactly close. Like he's not exactly to the left of where those mirrors are. If you understand what I'm saying, it's just how they pull this off. You're not sure where the person himself is, right? And that works in the context of the fight scene, because you will see the person here, like the reflection here, but then he will show up by the side of one of the mirrors. It's just amazing, though. Like, it's one of those shows, it's one of those moments that I wish I could like probably dissect so I could figure out, oh, this is where Lee was, this is where Han was. I love how they play that off very well, where you're thinking he's by the side of a mirror, but he far off. So like Han would just sort of show up and hit him and all that kind of stuff, right? But if you notice the very beginning, Lee is aggressive here, right? He is pissed off. He's like throwing blows. There's actually a famous scene though. Don't mind. It's a dummy, but it's a great scene nonetheless, where Han collects this not flash kick, sorry. He just collects this kick to the side of the head though. And it's just framing wise how they do it. It's just this wow, right to the side of the head, right? But if you watch it close, it's a dummy. But it works because of how fast Lee is, right? Because Lee used to kick real fast, but it's just the impact of that kick though. Always jolts me every time I see it, right? But yeah, so in the middle of that now, that's where, and he realizes that there's no way he could fight him because the mirror's distracting him. That's where, he hears his Sifu pretty much say, the enemy uses images by which he hides his true intentions, destroy the image and you break the enemy, right? So that's where he keeps breaking the mirrors until he finds Han, and then he kicks him and then he falls back into despair. Right. And you see how it ends with that one mirror revolving and the body just spinning is great in my opinion, right? But yeah, just to close off before we share thoughts on that scene in particular. Yeah, that's where I think that he was reaching with the whole philosophy aspect, with the whole instinctive thing, right? Where it's like it can't just be about revenge anymore. Like I'm doing the whole revenge thing, but again, my ass wash. This man's creeping me in my back because, fun fact, he do the Vega thing, and that's where they get the whole Vega tree claw thing in the first place. Like, nah, I won't lie. Like, when I saw that for the first time, I was like, oh shit, that's where Vega get that thing from. Like, what?
I'm sure that's the inspiration. Yeah.
It is. But it just blew my mind seeing that this was the movie that Capcom got inspired to do Vega, right? Just that little weapon that this man have came from this movie, right? Look at that.
It's Balrog in Japan, but yeah.
All right, yeah, Balrog in Japan, right? Right? Yeah. So that's how he realized, like, look, I'm gonna work it out. I'm gonna help here. I need to figure things out. I'm gonna think now. Let me just get instinctive now. Boom, he remember what he master say, and then he start doing the whole, mirror thing, and then boom, kick, and that's it. But yeah, your thoughts on that Room of Mirrors fight scene?
Yeah, no, it's a classic. It's like a true image classic in terms of following. I remember seeing this for the first time and I'm like, wow, how are you following this? How are you following who doing what and why? And they're making it is a true classic. Like how to just think about the just shot choices, like what to make you fake you out. How it have you tense because if you pick the wrong thing, you could get punished for it, and so on and so forth. Yeah, it's a true classic.
Yeah. Even though this show doesn't delve too deep into it, again, it's a simple story, but it's about people getting their ass kicked, blah blah blah. That's what it is, right? But I do like the subtle bits of characterization the show gives us, right? Especially with the three leads, right? So I already mentioned Lee and how he just focused on the mission, right? Well, it's part okay. I'm doing this job for these people, but at the same time, I want to get at the guy who desecrated the Shaolin Temple and led his sister getting killed, right? But in particular, Williams and Roper, right? So Roper being the gambling man, right? So at first you see him and you're just thinking, oh, he's about himself and it's all about making money and all that kind of stuff. I love how they set that up even right after the whole flashback scene. So there's a moment with him betting on this grasshopper. Right. Sorry about that. Yeah, this grasshopper fight that's going on, right? It's that, and he's betting on that too, right? But so you're just there thinking, oh, he's just about himself, and you're just thinking, oh, he could just scheme his way through. But you realize, no, the man could actually fight, though. The man could actually kick ass, right? So actually, he has this great fight scene that he has as well. In that scene in particular, where his fight starts, there's actually a guy who is one of the main villains in the Big Boss. I noticed him, this young fella, I forget his name, right? And he also shows up in Fist of Fury as well, right? But it's the moment where, quite famously, before we get to that, where Han, tells him about the business, the whole drug thing that he's doing, and then, surprise, surprise, he shows Williams' dead body. I'll get to Williams in a bit, right? And, it's he's saying, there's a line that I won't cross, right? That's a great moment. It's a simple line, but it makes a lot of sense. You think it's all about himself, but no, dog, you want shit, right? I don't care if I'm making money out of it. You want shit. I'm not gonna do that. So afterwards, it's a great moment where Lee is captured, right? And yeah, he tells Roper, Han tells Roper, yeah, go and kill Lee. He's like, nah, you're not gonna do this, right? and then he pits him against Bolo, right? That's not the actor's real name, but
Right.
we know him as Bolo Young, right?
Yeah,
We've
yeah,
known
we
him
know
from
it is,
that
yeah.
since throughout his career, right? But yeah, the moment he had to fight Bolo, I remember seeing that for the first time. Like, dog, it's freaking Bolo Young. Like, I knew about him in the 90s, right? With these, with those Billy
Yeah.
Blank's action films, right? Like TC 2000. He was in TC
I
2000.
know him. Well, I know him from right. No, I know him. I know him from what do you call it,
That showed on a
not
little
classic.
Tokyo. No.
No. Shit. Oh gosh.
Oh gosh.
The Van Damme movie.
I
Oh
know you
gosh.
talk about Bloodsport. Yeah. Yeah, Bloodsport. Though
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport
Right.
made Bolo
Bloodsport. Yeah.
Young an icon, like an 80s icon through that movie, right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so I remember seeing that for the first time. Like, there's actually like a moment earlier on where Bolo like beat up like kill these three guards, right? There's a moment where like he breaks a man like neck thread, and it's the face that he does when he like squeezes them, right? It's that sort of like he faced like his lips,
Yeah.
like his cheeks just raise up, right? It's a great moment, right? But yeah, when you see like Roper going up against Bolo, it's like, oh shit, this man gonna die. Just like, no, you like wash him though. And of course, that's where Mortal Kombat, the first movie, actually got the idea with Johnny Cage and hitting Goro in the balls, right? And if you look at it, even Johnny Cage is like an archetype of is like a references Roper.
Well, it's Van Damme.
Yeah, it's Van
Well,
Damme with the
it's Van
split,
Damme.
right? But
It's
that's
supposed to
the
be Van Damme as well.
show-offy
Right.
nature of the character. I also saw him as a Roper as well. I saw him as a Roper as well, like a
Right.
Roper character or archetype, right? But if I just have one gripe though, you hit a man in the balls, you kick a man in the balls, and that kill him. Like, I watched that scene like about 2 times. Like, it looked like either he passed out or he did it. But I don't want to think that he did because, yeah, you had this big fight scene that go on and people get washed and killed and whatnot. But, dog, Bolo didn't die by getting kicking the balls, right? I don't want to come out of that show thinking that's how he did, right? But it's just how he sort of passes out that, because the show never get back to him, right?
Right.
But, in terms of the characterization, what I really felt the show nailed well, in my opinion, is with Williams, right? Played by Jim Kelly, right? I mean, yeah, he is the cocky show-off guy, right? He's, talk about, I'll be too busy looking good, right? There's a moment where Han tells him, like, yeah, you have to accept defeat at a point in time, right? It's like, no, guy, you're not even going to study defeat, right? I could be too busy looking good, right? And then you have the moment where Han was interrogating him about him being outside because that was against the rules and all that kind of stuff. And it was around that same time where Lee was breaking in to try to investigate stuff, right? So yeah, and then when you talk about, that's when William say, I just paraphrasing here. Now I'm getting the feeling like I don't want to be on your island. You come straight out of waste this way. Bullshit, hand man. You come straight out of a comic book, right? That's the famous line, right? But it's kind of brave how the show does it too, right? Where it's taking this guy who's doing martial arts, right? This black guy doing martial arts, right? And they're like, all right, well, he's a black man, and the era of it, right? He should survive this, right? And then Han pull out that prosthetic arm, dread, and you're like, but okay, they're like watching it. Like, he just takes off the he takes off the glove. You don't really taking it on there, you just see this black covered hand, right? And then he hit him, he just do like a couple judo chops, right? It's like, oh shit, I think he hit him in the arm, no, he hit him in the leg basically. And then it just leads to the fight that takes place in this room where these ladies who are clearly high off of heroin, just laughing and all that kind of stuff there, And it's a great scene actually, right? But it's like the judo chops that he collect in the end, right? And then afterwards, that's when he pull out you see a close-up of the hand again. Okay, that's they wondering how Han was able to beat this guy now. He realized, oh shit, there's a steel hand this man had, right? That was great. I love how it follows up after that now where he brings in Roper and he's talking to Roper. And there's like these like he just has this museum of like weapons of ancient weapons, all that kind of stuff. And you see this bear claw thing, you see the Vega like claws or whatnot, and then you just see this skeleton, the bones basically of what we will assume, and it actually is his hand. I love how he just says it's a souvenir. You know what I mean? It's a great scene. Right? But This point
Right.
again at is that again, you just take who could have survived the film, right? This black guy, and you just basically kill him off. That actually surprised me the first time I saw that. Like, you just there thinking, all right, well, he's supposed to be like a man of the people, so he should win because
Yeah.
he's a black man. But like, no, because of his vanity, because of how cocky the man is, and not really thinking about the possibility of what can happen if he lose and what will happen. Yeah, he kind of lost his life for it, right? It's not as complex as you might think, though, but I just think as a piece of characterization, it actually works, right? But yeah, talk about in-depth stuff overall. But let me just jump into the meat of the matter, right? The fight scenes, very 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 well handled though. Bruce Lee, choreographed them. He got a man like oh god, the guy who plays Han, Shi Ken, to fight and makes it work, right? Yes, it does the 70s thing where the camera is right in front of the person and they just move it and going, yeah, yeah, yeah. They do that. It's a 70s thing. And they look like they're hitting the camera. They do that, right? Or they punch in at the side of the camera. They do that. But it's a 70s thing wherever it works, right? And I like that it was not an entirely, Bruce Lee based movie. Like, Bruce Lee was not the only guy who was fighting, right? You have John Saxon, who can fight. You have Jim Kelly, of course, who could fight as well, right? And, as I mentioned, Shiken, who does this thing, right? And even, I forgot to mention Angela Mao, right? Who plays Lee's sister. I didn't even know that she was a big, martial artist and actor, during the 70s as well. I found out that after the fact as well, right? So it was, even though it's a Bruce Lee vehicle, it was not just about him doing all the fights and whatnot, right? The directed by Robert Clouse. I thought that he did his damn thing in it too. I like that, it was introducing us, like, all right, like, yes, it's martial arts, right? But it's basically, like, it's a martial arts film, it's an action film, but, it's still a very professional, very well made, very great looking film, right? Even though it's a 70s film and you could see, the 70s-ness in the look and the aesthetic, right? One scene in particular, though, is amazing just in terms of just shot composition. The scene where we actually get on the island and it's just this crane shot of you just seeing these fighters just doing katas, and it's just this long take basically, well, tracking shot basically of just these fighters all dressed in white, just doing all the katas and whatnot, right? It's just how massive that scene looks now. You know what I mean? That really still blows my mind to this day, right? And most importantly, though, is Bruce Lee himself, though. I mean, we have to talk about him in the context of this show. I mean, Bruce Lee just kills it in this film. Sure, he does not have a lot of lines in it as well, too, but the moments where he has dialogue totally works. Like, I just love the piece of dialogue between him and Braithwaite, that's the English guy. We talk about, we want you to do this job. He's like, we, Mr. Braithwaite, you know what I mean? Or like, oh gosh, where he's doing the little slideshow thing. So he's like, guns. Why doesn't anybody go with a 45 and bang, settle it, right? It's those moments that totally work for me. Like, it kind of just fleshed out the character. He's not like this, Asian, this Chinese stereotype basically. He's an individual. He's a character, and he's doing his thing, right? So yeah, even alongside the fighting, Bruce Lee gets to show his acting chops as well, right? But again, I like that the show knows that it's an action film, so you're not gonna get some Oscar-worthy performance from it, right? In terms of hip hop as well, it just kind of relates to just the genre of martial arts as well, right? I mean, most famously, the Wu-Tang Clan and how they pretty much shaped their whole career through martial arts films, right? But for me, just looking back at it, I think this show really nails it as well, right? Because one, it's the first first Hollywood produced martial arts film, right? So that's a big deal, right? But I think mainly it's just because it's a non-white actor as a lead, as an action hero, right? Front and center in this film. I think, even for African Americans in the 70s and onwards, that's hugely inspirational. And of course, we even talk about Asian Americans, right? I mean, that's pretty much obvious, right? But I think it's that too. Then also the character of Williams, right? Jim Kelly himself, right? It's a shame that his career never blew up as much as big as it could have, right? It's a shame that Bruce Lee's career couldn't continue because he passed away, right? But you know what I mean? Just seeing like this black guy. Don't mind he have this dope ass afro and whatnot, but it was still a brother, so to speak. Kicking ass, right? And you could see how it trickled on to characters like, say, Dolomite and, other characters, other blaxploitation characters in the 70s and whatnot, right? So yeah, you can imagine yourself as a black kid in the 70s seeing, Jim Kelly in a movie, right? And just your mind being blown, right? But yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's non-white actors just being able, not just being able to use their bodies, being able to use their talents to just, yeah, kick ass and just be heroes themselves, right? And just be, more than man, so to speak. I think that's the reason why, black people really like relate to, or love martial arts films so much, right? And then, of course, at the end of the day, it's all escapism at the end of the day, right? It's about this guy who could kick, who could do all these really crazy and insane, really over the top moves, right? But it's something that you could learn by yourself, I guess. It's like that, right? So yeah, like for me, that's how I kind of see with that, right? But yeah, in a nutshell, though, just to wrap things up, though, yeah, this movie is still a classic. I could talk more about it, though, but I think like I get the major beats down. Again, the story is not like something that you have to really think about too much, and that's the beauty of the show. It's simple, it's straightforward, it's to the point. Go in Ireland, kick ass, leave, right? That's basically what it is, right? And chaos ensues, right? That's what it is, right? But it was a great way for Bruce Lee to pretty much make his way to Hollywood, right? It's unfortunate yet again that he couldn't see the fruits of his labor because he passed away before this movie was even released, right? But yeah, I mean, off this movie alone, right? People like myself was able to seek out his other work and really appreciate him. And I mean, right now, he's a cultural icon. He is a pop culture icon. He's a hip hop icon. And I mean, yeah, we could talk for days about the influence of Bruce Lee, right? But I think this film in particular is the one that really made him the superstar and legend that we know him today, right? And same thing goes for Jim Kelly as well too. Just being this black man who could kick ass, right? And again, as I said before, you see how he was able to influence other actors, black actors in the 70s and 80s doing that, right? Really and truly, you wouldn't have a Wesley Snipes if it wasn't for Jim Kelly, right? So think about that, right? So yeah, this is still a classic for me. This is right up there in terms of like my top three, not even top five, like top three all-time favorite martial arts films. Like for me, like my top number one for me is still 36 Chamber Shaolin. Like that to me is like the pinnacle, the peak of what martial arts films could do, right? But it's one of those lists that could change over time. So maybe I might have Enter the Dragon there one day, or I might have, I don't know, Tai Chi there as the number one. But like right now, it's 36 Chamber, right? And I could see like Enter the Dragon being like second place in my opinion. But yeah, this show stood out a lot to me. It's a show that even when I was recapping it though, I just remember scenes, I remember lines of dialogue, I remember pieces of music from this, right? That's to show how much that movie has ingrained itself into my psyche. And imagine the scene for many people, right? The world over. So yeah, I talked long enough about it. This is still a masterpiece in my opinion. Rating-wise, I'm going to give this a strong 5 out of 5. Yeah, see this movie before you die, man. This is one of the best martial art movies ever made, one of the best action movies ever made, though. I like that it's to the point, it does this thing and then it leaves without trying to be anything. It's not. It was a great vehicle for Bruce Lee. It's a shame that he couldn't capitalize on it because he died. But it made him a certified legend, in terms of not just pop culture but also the hip hop culture as well too, right? So yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen it, why? I guess unless you just don't like martial arts films at all, then I guess the show wouldn't do anything for you, man. But I mean, come on, it's a masterpiece. It's probably one of the best 70s movies ever made, in my opinion, right? So at least that is a reason alone for you to check it out, right? But yeah, if you're a martial arts fan, of course you saw this. This should be in your top 5. I don't care. Well, I mean, even if it's not number 1, it should at least be in your top 5, in my opinion, right? But yeah, flat out masterpiece though. 50 years, though, I imagine 50 years afterwards, when there's some other way people can watch it. Right now, there's like this other 4K release of it right now. Yeah, people will be looking at this movie 50 years again from now and be like, yeah, this movie, I don't want to say holds up, but it still stands as one of the greatest ever made, man. So yeah, talk long enough. Ricardo, you just want to just do a review of the film, and you can just give your ratings afterwards.
No, yeah, the movie is a classic. Very, very little. It is, yes, it has its little dated moments and thing, but like for the most part, it's the movie I think of, the template for the martial arts movie in especially in the Western world. Every Too many people borrow from it and pull from it. It is very mimetic, but it is a true classic. So many great shots, moments, as I say, dialogue and one-liners. And yeah, in my humble opinion, I give it like something like an 8 out of 10. Probably closer to a 9 because it's one of those things that just yeah, it's a little some of the things kind of little dated on for what it is, but that don't really hold it back too much. Yeah, loved it.